Okay, everybody, cue spoon and music in three, two, one.
Right. Well, it has been a while, and very happy to be back here with the Spoondit crew. I haven't
Oh
spoken to you
yeah.
in quite a minute, at least not over anything that's not just a text chat. But happy to get back into it. So over the last few weeks, I have been rather busy actually, which is funny to say. Just with quarantine going on and everything, I feel like prior to this like 3 week stretch, I just haven't been doing anything. I mean, I work 3 days a week, and then the rest of the time is just kind of doing whatever. So
Game
it's yeah,
gaming.
it's so it's
Yeah.
been it's been long in the sense that I've been busy and like there's been a lot of activities happening, but it also has gone by super fast. So my brother was in town with his wife. Always a treat to see them. They've been living on the East Coast, so it's about maybe 2 or 3 times a year that we see them, and it was super fun. We took the whole family down, and my mom rented this big house right like half a mile walk from the water down on the
that
Washington
that
coast.
that did sound insane, man.
It
Like
was
when you
so
when you were
good.
telling me about that, I was like, oh my gosh. I had like big Sese Island vibes, like when
Oh
we would
man,
go there.
dude,
Obviously bigger
totally. And they
houses,
had a
but just
pool
like right
table
by the
there,
water.
dude.
Oh man.
If you ever come back, for sure.
We
But
need to
so
go.
that was great. We did. Our family likes to film videos. We did one last Christmas when everybody was in town. We did it like a parody of a sitcom. This time we filmed a parody of a soap opera. So I'm currently in the process of editing that. I'll definitely give that a shout out. It's gonna go up on my little brother's YouTube channel, and so I'm really excited about that coming out. It's a cool like memento thing you can always look back on, and we have my grandparents in one of them, and it's great. It's really
Yeah,
it's a good
you're
time.
just
So
you're just like you're just making your way through the genres, to be fair, and it's gonna be cool. Like it's gonna be
exactly.
really cool to see what you guys come up with and sort of like what genres you go into as
hmm
well. I think it's gonna be brilliant.
We're always trying to step up the production value and see whatever make it as good as we possibly can. So I'm really excited. There's a fun group. My family, you can attest, I'm sure. They're fun people to be around, and
Mm.
they like to have a good time. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
me. What have you been up to?
Honestly,
I
man,
noticed a new
I've been
location. Sorry to interrupt, but you got a
pretty
new
busy
spot
too.
now.
Well, funnily enough, I actually don't. My computer's basically just on a cheeky 180, and so now
Oh,
this is
okay.
the other side of my room. So this is
Wow.
uncharted territory for a lot of the viewers out here today. So I hope you're enjoying the view. This is the other side of my room, basically. So that's kind of like that's where just everything is stored, really. And then behind or behind you now is basically this massive, like wall to wall wardrobe, which is
Okay.
where I usually sort of put myself behind, just because like for the I don't know, just to make it a little bit simpler. But today I was like, well, you know what? I've moved the room about a bit. I've given myself a bit more of a desk space, and so I was just like, you know what? Let's keep it like that. Why not? Um, but yeah, man. I mean, I've been busy. So I work in hospo. So we've been getting back into that. We reopened on Saturday the 4th of July, which was obviously very exciting. We filled the restaurant twice over on the first night, so it was brilliant, man. It was really
And
good.
are
I have enjoyed
you,
getting back to work.
if I could ask, are you doing full capacity, or is it like a 50% type deal, or
No,
how is
no,
that
no.
working?
So it's probably about 80 odd. So we usually have 27 tables, and I believe at the moment we've been running like just over 20. Is it 22 or
Okay,
something?
so full,
We
but
really
not
haven't been
as
missing
full as
out.
it used to be.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. So
cool.
full in the sense of like 80% capacity,
Okay.
which when you think about it, really isn't bad considering with that, that also means that we can maintain 2 meter distance or whatever it is. We can maintain that as well, even though like and still run at 80%, which I think is quite impressive.
hmm
Anyway, it's been really, really good to get back in touch with mates and everything. And obviously, gents, it's brilliant to see you again, man. It's been absolutely ages since we've done this. So I'm really looking forward to just to get into it because there's a lot to talk about. But yeah, man, it's been weird getting back into work, and so when I saw that Logic had retired the other day, I was just like, you can't throw that on me now, man. Like I feel like I'm going through a crisis. Next thing I know, Logic's retired. I I feel like I was out of the loop and that he'd said he was going to do this ages ago and that I should have expected it coming. But I don't remember that happening.
Well, you know what I remembered was he had said, I believe 2 albums ago, that like in one of his albums at the end he said like, and the next album is the last album, or something along those lines. You remember that?
No way. Well,
Because we could go back and find it.
that would have been at the end of Young Sinatra 4.
It was either that
Would
one
it?
or
Oh
the
no.
one before, but because remember he did that and then he said, oh, no, actually what that means is it's the end of like, was it the end of Young Sinatra's journey or whatever, because he had those like space things and he was doing all that. I don't know. He's always incorporated these like recordings and kind of skits throughout the albums, and I believe it was the end of like that saga of things, and then he did like a couple more albums after that. But now he's saying he's retiring because he
Yeah.
has a kid, and he just
And
signed a big
and
deal
you
with
know
Twitch
what?
too. So
Yes, I saw that. I thought as soon as I saw that, I followed him on Twitch straight away because I've got it for like a mate of mine to support him,
yeah.
and I was just like, "Yo, I mean, well, I've got it. I might as well, catch up with Bobby." I fully respect what he's doing, man. You know, he made a video. He was like, and a lot of the lyrics as well are like, "Yo, like I'm a dad now. Like I'm at a different stage in my life." And I think it's his track that's called like, I think it's called Dad Bod or something, and he's like, oh, what do you want me to rap about, like everyday things? And so he's like,
Yep.
yeah, I change my baby's diapers and then I go to the store, and it's
aisle
actually
4,
fire.
aisle
You're
5.
just like
No,
you're
it's a bop.
bopping it, and it's like, and and it's so good. But I think it makes a lot of sense. I think he's found something else to like sort of construct his life around, and obviously it's not as if he needs the money.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that was never the reason he did it in the first place. But he's got a son now, little Bobby, and I think it is the end of an era. However, I feel that he is going to get back into it at some point. I feel like this is sort of like, this is a pause. He'll help his son grow up. They'll kind of they'll have their whole lives together, and then I feel like his son is going to be like, Dad, like, what's going on? Take me through the education of your career, and that will either inspire him to get back into it or inspire his son. And I just feel like we're going to see a little. I feel like we're going to see more of Logic, man. I don't think this is the end. But actually, gents, what you were mentioning before about sort of saying the last album.
Mhm.
So his album before, No Pressure, which he just dropped, which you need to listen to, by the way, because it's fire.
Is
That
the
was
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind? Okay.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I loved that album.
It's
And
a
then
great
before
movie
that
too,
was
actually.
Yes, before that was Supermarket, the soundtrack, which I haven't given much of a listen to, and then
Okay.
before that was Young Sinatra 4, and then you're getting into some of the slightly older ones. Yeah, 2 albums in 2018 as well. But anyways, so was it the Supermarket one, or was it Confessions of a Dangerous Mind
I don't know.
that he said like
So
the next one is the last
I listened
one?
through his new album twice in prep for talking about it, and I didn't go back and listen to any of the older stuff. But I do remember there was, oh man, I mean we could probably look it up, but there was at the end of one of his older albums, he said my next album is going to be and it might have even been as far back as uh Everybody, Promotion, Critical Reception. Yeah, I just have to.
I feel like
just have to listen to it.
everybody was quite a big album for him. I feel like that did take a little bit of a turn. I'm not gonna lie, that was probably my least favorite album. And I'm a big fan of Logic, especially some of his earlier stuff, like the whole Under Pressure album, the deluxe album is just gold. Um, and that when I say that it's my least favorite, that's not putting it down in any way, shape, or form, because I'm still a big fan.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's not his best work. And he's come out with No Pressure. He's finished it off, and it's just been like, wow, okay. Like he's still got it, man, and he's been absolutely killing it since 2014 with no prisoners with that, man. Like he's been absolutely brutal. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, so listening through the album, I think I can kind of go off of what you said about Everybody, and I think perhaps the reason why you don't like it as much as some of the others is it definitely feels more like a pop album. There's a lot of singles that came off of that one, and it felt kind of disjointed in that way. Whereas listening through this one, it feels like it's like a one long freestyle almost, and it just kind of goes from song to song.
Well.
Yeah, and it's
Exact,
very
and
it has
that is the classic Logic style.
yeah, it kind of has like the the jazz instruments in there, and lots of little things in between, and yeah, it was very interesting, and he's always been. I think one thing that he does, and he always has done, that's really cool is just like the advocacy that he has in his albums. And even when I barely knew anything about him. I think I talked about this on our last podcast, but when I saw him live, he was just such a contrast to the guy who'd gone before, who was YG, who was very negative, and he came on, he was like, "Yo, this is peace, love, positivity. That's what we're here about. We're here to have a good time." And he did that on stage, and it was really, really cool. And ever since then, it's just been that's what he's been doing. And one of his biggest songs is a song about the title is the Suicide Hotline, and it's just all about awareness. And he brought, he always does the things at the Grammys when he, just uplifting people and trying to bring people up. And I think with this album in particular, there's one track where he talks quite a bit about the obligation he feels as someone who has succeeded in life with his goals and made a lot of money. He feels like it's kind of his duty. Like, I didn't write down the exact lyric, but it's something about if you reach this level of success, you owe it to the people who got you there to help others with that. And I just think it's a cool outlook to have for somebody, especially in his position, where he could just sit in his mansion, he can raise his son, he could retire happily and never talk to anybody again. But he chooses to, even with his, last gasp, as it were, with his current rapping career. I agree with you. I think he'll be back in some way, shape, or form, especially.
And I can't wait for that.
On Switch, and it'll be great. But even with just his last effort, he just chooses to try to, bring other people up, raise awareness to different situations, and just have a very positive outlook on things, and kind of just a giving nature is pretty. It's cool.
I just think he's just a very positive guy. I think if there's anyone in that sort of position that I would love to meet and actually just have a chat with, not be like, oh my days, I'm talking to Logic, but be like, yo, bro, I want to ask you about this and how did you deal with this? Because that's another thing as well. He's been through so much in his life, and I feel like that is a massive testimony to him. And especially with some of his older stuff, he talks about the struggles of like not being black enough, not being white enough, and it's just like this guy was hated from every single angle, and he comes out with all of this positive energy, and I just think it's brilliant, man. And I think it shows what can be done and what music can do for people. I think he would say this as well, as that music turned his life around. And he's obviously someone who was born to do what he's done. I think there's no doubt about that. It was, written in the stars. It was, it was laid out. And I just think he's taken that opportunity. He's grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and he's done incredibly well. And like you said, gents, he could do whatever he wanted at the moment, but he chooses to just keep on giving out more and more positive energy. I recently started following him on his Instagram because I was just like, it's just such a cool place to be, man. He's just so down to earth. And so, obviously we were talking about the albums. We mentioned Everybody, which, yes, does have a few brilliant songs. And, the Suicide Hotline is just like, it's just clever, man. And it shows how much he is there for the people. But, Jensen,
yeah,
what is your favorite Logic album as a whole?
As a whole? I was thinking about this too. And I think I would have to say The Incredible True Story.
Yeah, you have always liked that one, to be fair. I was wondering if you'd say that.
And what's interesting is I'm looking at him because I feel like it's missing something on this discography here, because there's Under Pressure, Incredible True Story, but wasn't there another one in between that and Everybody? In 2016, didn't he put something out? Or was like technically like a mixtape or something? Because what's the one? Bobby Tarantino 2.
Bobby Tarantino.
Well, that was 18.
I mean, there was the first. Bobby Tarantino 1 was 2016.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, why is that not listed as an album? It's not on.
I don't. I mean,
maybe it's technically
it's on Spotify.
No, it is, but on Wikipedia here, it's not listing it. So anyway, I bring that up because that was the most recent one that he had put out right before I saw him in 2016, and I had I barely knew who he was before that, basically.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was going to see him. I was listening to his music, just trying to get into it because it's more fun to be at a concert when you know the music anyway. And I was just kind of trying to see what he was about. And I was listening to these ones, and there's some bars on there. I mean, there's 44 more, 44 bars. Pardon, 44 bars. The
Bro.
Jam, Flexecution, Super Mario World. There's some really really good songs on there.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it wasn't until, and so I was focusing on that one, and that's what he performed mostly. But later
Oh,
on, when I
amazing.
was like actually checking him out and listening to all his stuff, I think just the Incredibles story just kind of spoke to me. I like the vibe of it. First of all, you know, you got the
Mm.
space thing going on, which is super cool. And then there's Fade Away is incredible. I
Oh
Am the
yes.
Greatest.
Oh, fade away. Fade
And
away is a vibe.
I think one of my
Oh
favorite
man.
song of his overall is Never Been. I don't know. I just jam to that song specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so that
Such a
that
good
one's
album.
always just been the one
Run
that
It. I mean,
say is
Run
my
It was
favorite.
amazing
Yep.
as well. Yeah, you know, Lord Willing as well as a
It's
true
hard to find a
man.
bad
Like,
song on that one for sure.
no, it really
'Cause
is.
you can go
I,
through the
I
list. It's
I
yeah.
remember us talking, and I feel like again this was ages ago, but I remember you highlighting that one to me and saying, you know, Joel, hands down, this is my favorite one. Um, I mean, like you know, we did mention Bobby Tarantino, his track 44 bars. I think that is one of the most beautiful beats I've ever heard. You know, I sort of hold that to the same level as the beat of Pound Cake by Drake, which is another just dreamy. The vibe on that is incredible. Um, However, as you know, it is only 11 songs long, which isn't massive for an album. You know, when you consider his Under Pressure Deluxe album having 15 on it,
Yeah.
and I think on that note, probably the one that I've been. I mean, my favorite Logic song is 44 bars.
Okay.
I think that's just my favorite one from him. However, the ones that I've got sort of on my rotation, most of them are probably from the Under Pressure Deluxe album. You've got Soul Food,
It's
and
hard
you've
to
got
beat.
I'm Gone.
It's hard to beat.
Gang Related is so
Yep.
Bounce is amazing. Never Enough. Nikki as well. Nikki again, one of my favorite songs from him.
And then you just end with
Finish.
All Right. Like you're gonna end with like one of his biggest singles of all time, just casually at the end of the album. Don't worry about it. Just throw Big Sean in there. Goodness
Yeah, why
gracious.
not? Yeah. Oh my days. And so I think that's probably my favorite. I mean, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind is probably the one. I think the thing is, he's got this sound that he's got, and that is Logic's sound, and that's brilliant. What I feel changes with him, especially, is some of the lyrics. I feel like on his Confessions of a Dangerous Mind album, I feel like there was a few smarter lyrics in that. If I'm gonna listen to Logic and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna listen to what he's saying, every word and syllable, then I'm most likely gonna listen to Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Off
Starting
that
off with
album, Keanu Reeves, absolute
Keanu
banger,
Reeves,
and
amazing.
Homicide. Anytime dude,
Yes, Homicide's good.
I was waiting for
Commando with
Eminem and him
Jeezy.
to do a song for so long,
Yeah.
and then they finally did, and it was just insane, absolutely
Yeah.
incredible.
Yep, loved it. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, though, even the song, like the song's one that it's very, very cool. Just like a classic Logic freestyle. The beat, like the lyrics rather, are just so incredible. I think the last line of the song is, put your ego on the shelf and don't forget to love yourself. And it's just like, man, it's just like what we've been saying. It's such a positive vibe to end on. Oh yeah, I mean, like we've said at the start, end of an era. I don't think we've heard the last from Logic, which I say that
100%.
half out of hope, to be fair, because I can't, I don't want him to be gone. But he's gone on a bang, and he's gone with an incredible album, and I love how it's called you know
No
No
Pressure.
Pressure as well. After just the man, I can't stop but smile every time I think about it. And so yeah, kind of end of an era. Seeing him live,
Yeah.
did that? I mean, obviously that, because you hadn't really heard of him before. That
No.
that must have painted him in a really good light.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon that? I don't know, like seeing him live and being able to picture him live after seeing it, and like when you were listening to the music after. I don't know. Did that sort of? Do you reckon you would have enjoyed his music as much? I think is what I'm trying to say. If you
I
hadn't
would
seen him live the first time.
I would say probably. I mean, well, definitely not actually, because for me, anytime I see somebody that I've listened to, and I see them perform live, it definitely I say there probably isn't going to be a neutral reaction for me, because if I see them live and they're really good and they do a great job and they have great energy, then I'm just always going to be picturing that. And especially if their live performance is better than their studio performance, which can or may or may not happen all the time. Um, with Logic, I had barely heard his studio performing, and then I see him live, and he just kills it, all while being like the nicest dude I've ever seen on stage. And so it's just infinite like positivity going out whenever I listen to his music, because I always can picture like him dancing around in his like space jumpsuit, just while bopping, and like Rick and Morty's playing on the giant screen in the background. So it was just, yeah, it was incredible, and always will be a positive thought for me for sure.
Yeah, I would love to see Logic live, and maybe like meet him at some point, just to hear how he's done it and how he feels about it. At this point, I think, yeah, I mean, as a radio presenter, being able to interview Logic would just be, I don't know, would just be insane. I like what you said about, live performances only really give you a positive or a negative impact, though. There's never really like a, I'm not too sure how I felt about that. It often is like, right, I cannot be bothered to listen to that person's music, or oh my days, I need to do some catching up. Because I can't remember, in all honesty, if I was listening to Logic, because I mean, obviously we have introduced each other to an endless list of artists, and you've probably done so more like for me. I can't remember if you told me about Logic and was like, bro, you need to check this out, or whether or not it was kind of we met on neutral ground with that one. Because when did you see Logic live?
It would be September 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
So obviously by that time he presume he released. Yeah, he released. Oh my days, Bobby Tarantino 1 came out on my birthday. That's sick.
Yeah, so that was his most recent when I saw him.
Yeah. So we'd got into Bobby Tarantino 1. I'm pretty sure I was listening to him slightly before, because I remember being there when The Incredible True Story was very recent.
Okay.
Under Pressure was obviously probably the one I was jamming the most, and so maybe when Bobby Tarantino came out. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember, but I was thinking about this the other day, like when I visited you in Seattle. I can't remember us playing that much Logic in your car while we were just cruising and driving. Cruising. Oh, yeah. Cruising. But we definitely should have done more of that. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah,
that was a missed opportunity. But, of course, we will do that again at some point.
It was funny.
I don't know.
Mentioning driving with you, I was actually just up at the Hood Canal, my uncle and aunt's cabin up there, where we went, and that's where we did most of our listening to music, was on that drive, because it was like 2 hours each way, and we were just jamming out. And on the way back, obviously, it was just gorgeous driving by the water and everything.
Yeah,
such a great time. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was great. We did we had like snorkel gear and just went out and swam. Dude, it was such a perfect day. And I was there, like, we got there Friday afternoon, and then Kasana joined us that night. She had work, and then I took off work Saturday, and I had work Sunday, so I had to drive back late Saturday night to be home for work. But yeah, all of Saturday we were just on the water, enjoying the sun. Dude, it was such a good time.
I still have that video of the time lapse of the sunrise that we took, because I remember we'd only been asleep for like probably 4 hours, and we're like, bro, like we, like, come on, we got to wake up for this. And it was like, okay, fine, okay. So we got up, and it was just that I remember I felt like death. Okay, I can't deny it. I felt so bad sitting there with glaring sun. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get it, man, yeah. And in fairness, it did look amazing. But I'm pretty sure we did go straight back to sleep after that, because that was. Well, because we slept in the VW van.
The van. It got so hot in that upper section
it was boiling.
It was not pleasant at all.
Like, out of bed by like 7 or 8. As soon as it was light, it just got too hot.
Too bad.
Oh no, man. Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely class. I think if you could go, so obviously talking about live performances and traveling, I suppose to join those together, where would you most like to see? Like any artist live, no one in particular, maybe an artist that you would like to see, but in a specific country, like where would you like to go and say, oh yeah, I saw whoever live in this country? Like, where would that country be?
That's an interesting question because I don't really. The only performances that I have really seen outside of the U.S. have just been the ones that we would put on in Uganda, like at New Hope. Really, I don't think I haven't gone to a concert outside of the states, and maybe not even outside of Washington. I've been to a lot of different venues in Washington,
Mm.
but I haven't. I don't think seen a concert outside. So there's. I mean, there's obviously the Red Rocks in Colorado would be super neat. I think if my options were any country, I would probably just pick somewhere exotic that I haven't been to before. New Zealand would
Yeah.
be sick. Do they have like good cool concert venues there? I don't even know.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do. I
I
mean,
assume there
like
are.
when I saw Macklemore there,
Yeah.
it was sick. We went to so I'm pretty sure we went to the football stadium um in Wellington, which was
Okay.
just mental, man. So it was like, yeah, basically it was really really well done. That was I'd actually completely forgotten about that because that was a sick gig. So technically, I've seen live music in the UK, New Zealand, and the US in Seattle. So that's actually
Hey,
sick. Like just given
nice.
that I could say that, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, man, like I think
Ooh,
New Zealand was a good vibe. Go on.
I've just remembered. So there's actually two locations that just came to mind that are based on recorded performances that I've seen. Rio is one. I saw a 30 Seconds to Mars
Oh
concert
yeah.
that was in Rio that looked just incredible, huge venue. And then the other one was it was a Muse concert in Rome in some venue, and I
Oh
think
man.
probably that would be number one, just because like being in Rome, and it was like I think it was like outdoors too, but they had like a whole stage set
Yo.
up, and it looked just crazy. I think that would
Mm.
probably have to be it for me.
Yeah, I would. I mean, even just a Muse concert by
Yes,
itself, would be
yes,
wicked. But I feel like something like that as well. It does have to be done in a massive, absolutely, huge. Like you can barely even see it as far back as it can go. That kind of thing. Like that's what I would love to go to.
yeah,
I mean, because one thing I was thinking about before, obviously, the main topic of the podcast being, like Logic's retirement and that. There have been, artists and bands that have kind of stopped making music during the time that we've really been sort of involved in it, I suppose. Obviously Amber Lynn comes to
yeah.
mind as well, is a big one. That was tears for days. But I'm trying to think if there's any others. Are there any other big ones that we sort of that have just stopped making music during the time that we've been listening to them, I suppose? A TFK is still making music?
Uh,
He
I
well, like Trevor McNevin, he's kind of moved on, hasn't he? Because he's doing his "I Am the Storm" thing
yeah, but
now,
didn't he
or he
put that out and
was.
then they had
He
a
made like
yeah, I haven't looked into them in a while.
he
I don't
made
even
he made an EP or something,
yeah.
which was sick, man. Because he's a lyrical genius, man. So it was really really cool, um, to like I don't know, just to see him. But I'm looking up, like I'm looking it up on Spotify, and nothing is actually coming up, which is a bit weird. But I mean, I don't know. That's another band that comes to mind because obviously that was I regard that as a big part of us liking the same music, and I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like that was a lot of where it started out from
absolutely.
was TFK.
Hmm.
um and so it was, yeah, I mean, it was cool when he sort of went off and did his own thing, but some of their albums are just insane. Um yeah, I mean, well, which on that note, this is going to get sad now. Obviously, apart, I think if I'd asked this question, if we were discussing this probably about a month ago, I would have said Logic is one of the people that I don't want to see retire or stop.
Yeah,
If you can give me like one or two names maybe of people that you don't want to
I
see
don't
leave
want to
the
see.
music scene. Leave.
Let's see. Like individual people or artists?
uh either.
Neither.
I'll tell you
Okay.
that, either.
Let me see here.
Also, TFK have like over 2 million monthly listeners, which I feel like is pretty decent.
Okay, well, number one is just 21 Pilots. Just favorite band. It would be such a shame. I feel like they're still just in their groove. Their last song, Level of Concern, was an absolute bop.
Oh
And
yeah,
then they put
yeah.
out a live version, which was like even better because they had live like brass instruments in there, and it just sounded
Oh,
amazing, super great. So that's number one. Number two, I don't have any like super strong feelings. If I had to throw one out there, it would be between. I think it would be between Hobson and Joywave.
oh snap, snap. Hobson is a good
He's been
shout.
he's been putting out some bangers recently.
Yeah, man.
His
Well,
single
he's also been
Kumbaya, dude.
making music for ages. Yo, yeah,
Yes.
Kumbaya was pretty cool. Music video for that was mental as well. I quite
I
liked
don't think I've seen that.
Picasso as well. I thought Picasso was pretty cool. Um, I think, I mean, yeah, Hobson's that's a good shout. I think if I had to give other names,
Yep.
obviously I am gonna be gutted whenever NF does leave the music
Yep.
scene.
True.
Again, so someone that's like personally done a lot for me.
Yep.
But again, someone who I see of someone that when we were first listening to music, you know, I feel like he was so influential on sort of shaping what we like about music. So I mean, I'm really gonna miss him when he's gone. Kind of, checking out the slightly bigger names. Obviously Kendrick Lamar. I'm gonna be gutted when he goes.
Yep.
Anderson Paak as well. I feel like he
I
does so
did
much
see
for the
him,
music
yeah,
scene.
on my
Um,
list.
yeah, I mean that's someone else that comes to mind. But I think definitely NF is someone that I'm just gonna be sad to see when he goes, but I'm excited to see what comes from that because I feel like that is going to pave the way. I feel like he's going to bring in some seriously big artists to work with, and then people will kind of be like, okay, well, even though we still haven't, we don't have NF, we've got these people that he's almost brought up. I really feel like that's something that he could do, and hopefully that is something he's planning to do because I mean he's
Yep.
been a little bit quiet recently. I did hear something about a new album from him, but I'm, I mean, I can't wait for that. To be fair, because I still haven't seen him live. Like I was meant to. When was that meant to? I feel like that was
I
March,
think we
maybe
talked
April,
about this before. Yeah,
and I
it
was
was,
meant to see
yeah.
him live, man. And I haven't heard anything. That's what scares me. They haven't even said whether or not it's going to be refunded or when they're gonna,
Really?
sort of get. I'm pretty sure they haven't told me anything, or maybe I'm just saying that because I've forgotten. Um, but
Yeah. Huh.
I'm
That's
pretty
weird.
sure.
I feel like they should have all been refunded, especially by now, because there's
I mean,
no like end date to when we can have a concert again. So who knows?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I might just look over that again. I don't know. I was so gutted because it got so close. My little brother was quite excited because obviously
Yeah.
family's coming back from Uganda, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Nah, Jordan's cool. Now we can see him together." And I
When
was like, "Oh, sick. That's a
when
good point."
when are they all coming back? It's soon, right? No,
Soon,
we don't know.
ish.
Okay, but no
No clue.
tickets or
But
anything.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you a date. No.
Is there like an
So they've got
international travel ban going on? Is that affecting anything or?
there is something like that happening at the moment.
Okay.
So basically, they obviously, mum had paid for me to go over there, chill out with them for a little bit, and then come back.
Yeah.
So my tickets have been not refunded, but I've basically been given a coupon, which, however long that lasts for, it might expire like after a year, 2 years.
Mhm.
I can basically fly off to Uganda and come back whenever I so choose, which is pretty cool for the
Yeah.
course of like 2 weeks, which is massive. So I'm really looking forward to using that. Obviously, for the family, they only have a one-way ticket from there to here. So
Right.
the problem is at the moment is the fact that it's not actually open. Like I don't think the airport's properly open. They're doing like emergency expat flights, but I don't know if they're doing much more than that. So it's kind of the debate of, well, do you pay an arm and a leg for those special flights, or do you wait for wait for the airport to reopen and then just use the tickets? And so, yeah, I mean, ideally they're wanting to get back before September so that Silas can get into school and that Mum can, like find a job or something, being a teacher and that. But yeah, I mean, for the moment, it is just a little bit we're not too sure what's going on. The house is going along really well though. So I've been repainting the house today. That was well exciting.
Oh,
And so
good job.
yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, man. So I mean, we've made incredible progress. It's been mental, and so hopefully by the time they're back, house should be fully painted. And we'll like what will happen is we'll just be moving stuff in. So we'll be getting beds in and wardrobes in and everything necessary for them to live there.
Yeah.
And then by the time they get there, should be absolutely minted. So I can't wait for that. It's going to be amazing.
And
But for
are
the
you going to
moment,
be
we have no
moving
idea.
in? Are you going to be moving with them, or are you still current? Is that
For
unknown?
a little bit,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, for probably maybe like a month or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the plan for the moment. It's like obviously it is a little bit weird just around the world basically at the moment. No one's really sure what's going on.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure how much it's changed in the US. We haven't really spoken about that recently. But here, so obviously people are going back to work, but
Mhm.
you know, a lot of people are still very much affected, and industries are affected as well. So it's kind of, you know, we're waiting to see what happens really, but hopefully should see the family by the end of August, latest early September. So it's exciting, man. I really can't wait for them to be back. But I think it would be better if it is towards the end of August so that we can get the house done and we can wait and see if the airport is going to reopen. Then they can use those tickets, which will save them a lot of money. Because, you know, obviously they would be able to use the coupon to like get them from there back to here. But if they wanted to use that in like a year's time, they'd still have to pay for the tickets there, so it wouldn't actually be, you know, saving that much money at the end of the day. So it's kind of annoying. I think that's what they're holding on for. But I mean, you know, we'll see what happens. I really, really cannot wait for them to get back. I think, you know, it's going to be brilliant having not seen them in what feels like ages, man. It feels like absolutely ages. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And yeah, you know, taking Silas to his first live concert as well. It's going to be sick. If that can be NF, then you know that'll just be a bonus for the both of us. And yeah, I really really cannot wait for that. I think it's going to be class. Have either of your little bros been to a concert?
Yes, they have been.
Where'd they go?
I'm trying to think if they've been to one since, but I believe the mom and dad took the whole family to see Toby Mac in 2013
Oh
or
snap!
14. Yeah, and
Classic.
it was cool, but we at that point we were just we were a little bit past listening to him, so it wasn't like
Like as a family, or
well,
as
I mean, we
you
sort of
and
well
the
more
boys.
more me and Brevin because like we were the ones who like started listening to them. I mean, we still as a
I mean,
family
Toby Mac's a classic.
I'll still throw on like DC Talk from time to time, but I haven't
Oh
really tried to
mate,
listen to
yeah.
anything by Toby Mac. I guess my mom likes some of his
Jesus
songs
Freak.
too.
Jesus Freak is still a bop, bro.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's a great
song.
album. Yeah, and song too. Yeah, no, yeah. So
I get that though. To be
yeah.
fair, because I mean, I agree with you. I've kind of grown out, but again, you know, like TFK, like NF, someone that helped us just grow up with music. You know,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Tonight album is still amazing, and I do occasionally still listen to that because it's just so good.
Hmm.
And oh wait, but so they have been to a live. I mean,
Yeah,
how in
so
terms
they
of the actual live performance? How was it? Because some of Toby Mac's live like videos and stuff have looked pretty mental, man. Like it looks
it was
sick.
cool. Yeah, he had a whole setup. It was in the Key Arena, which is actually the same place where I had seen Logic perform, where I would see Logic perform a few years later, which is it's the old basketball stadium. We don't have a team anymore, but that's where they used to play. So it's a big stadium
Oh
downtown.
snap!
Yeah, it's a pretty cool venue, and they're redoing it again now. I think Amazon bought the rights and they're doing remodels and stuff. It's gonna be called like weather or like climate. It's like climate change stadium or something. It's really
Climate
pretty
change
dumb.
arena.
Hold on. Climate. It's called Climate Pledge Arena. Is the actual name.
Climate pledge.
Climate
Oof,
Pledge. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
spicy.
It's pretty rough. So so yeah, we saw them there. It was cool. I mean, they had let's see, they had oh man, Hawk Nelson I think opened, and I believe they were also touring with Capital Kings. also
No
opened.
way.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So that
classic.
was kind of fun. So I was probably more into them more recently than even Toby Mac, and they're kind of an up and coming duo at that point.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that was
No,
cool.
Capital Kings is sick.
He had a whole big stage and lights and everything. I mean, it was a good show.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like from what I've seen from Toby Mac, it
Mhm.
looks like what sort of speaks to me is the scale. Like it just
Yeah,
looks like it's absolutely massive. You know, he comes on with so many people. Well, because to be fair, like he's getting on in years. Like he's not a young guy anymore.
he's
What
our.
is he like? Late 40s? Is he
I think he's
50s?
early 50s. Yeah, he's about the age of my
Wow.
parents. Yeah,
I mean, if he's still rocking out at early 50s, and fair play to him, mate. You know, if he can still do a tour,
yeah.
because a tour is mental. You know, it's very stressful. So if he can still do that, man, I think that's brilliant. Yeah, obviously Toby Mac was class. We used to listen to Toby Mac a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, he had a ton of
Um,
talent around him too. Like, I mean, Mandisa just has an incredible voice, and she was like there with the backup, and she's on all his albums too. So I don't know if maybe she did one of her songs. I think she had one song that was pretty big at the time. Uh,
hmm.
like something like it's good, like Good Day or Happy Day or something like that. I
I
don't
feel
remember.
like I
Or maybe it was
know
Good
that name
Good
as well.
Morning was the name of the song. It was kind. I don't know.
Ah,
It was on at least Christian radio for a little bit there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I remember she performed that. But yeah, no, it was a good concert. It just wasn't really an artist that I was super into at the time. So I didn't
yeah.
appreciate it as much as I perhaps would have a couple years earlier. But
I
it was still a good
yeah.
show.
I presume they loved it though. I mean, I presume they were Toby Mac listeners at the time.
You know what? I don't think they had really started listening to music yet. Honestly, like on their own.
What?
Yeah, kind of. They do
Wait,
now.
okay,
So this
because
is
how
6 years
how
ago,
old was?
6 or 7 years
Oh
ago.
wow.
So they were young. They
I mean, yeah.
were
I mean,
like
I would only have been
10
like
and 8
15.
or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
I wasn't doing that. I was barely doing any listening to my own music at that age.
because
If
me and
that, I
Brev
probably just got on
started
my own MP3.
2008 ish. So we were
Yeah, I mean, I
11
would have been
and 13.
I would have been
when
sort
we
of
started
9
listening to
at
music.
that age, maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's cool. I mean, what would you take them to an NF concert? I'm presuming they're listening to NF.
They do listen to NF. Yeah, I think they'd like it. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
If they were
Silas is
interested.
he's a big fan of NF, man. Like yeah, he gets on board with it as well because he likes rap music, which is fair. So
His Instagram makes me laugh. It's very.
his Instagram, mate, he's a gangster, man. Like what I don't know what. There's nothing to laugh about.
We
Bro. It's a
can't
very
we can't we
serious
can't we
matter.
can't speak to it at all. Our posts back in the day were equally.
Oh, like some of the captions as well. Oh man, they were so good. Just like chilling for days and stuff.
That's
Oh,
what we do, man. That's what
That's
we
what
do.
it's just what we do. I think that's what it was. It was like we chill. That's just what we do.
I think that
And
was
you're
the
just like,
caption.
it's like, oh snap! It's like those guys are so cool. Oh,
Got the
bro.
black and
Like,
white filter going.
we're in like a
Sunglasses.
parking lot as well. Like
Oh,
we're
yeah.
we're in like only the best, man.
That
of
was the
course. Oh,
message, you know. Anywhere
that
you
was-
go, we'll be there chilling. Be it parking
we'll just
lot,
chill.
supermarket,
that's
living room.
that is all we'll
We
do.
just chill.
We'll
That's
just
all we do.
chill.
That's all
Don't
we
talk
do.
to us, man. We're chilling. Oh man, that like, but at the time as well, it was just like, yo, gents, nice photo, man. I respect
dude,
that.
we're looking good.
Nice.
Looking good.
Oh man, good times. Yo, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to get carried away, but I think that is probably enough for this
Yeah,
episode.
we got a solid
It's
40 minutes
been,
here.
It's been
That
good.
It
It's
flies.
been
Time flies, dude.
ups, yeah, man, ups and downs. Make sure you do go listen to Logic's new album. Please do. It's called No Pressure. It's out pretty much everywhere. Also, go and follow Jensen's younger brother's YouTube because they're gonna have a new movie out soon. What is the link for that, Jens?
I'll put the link in the description of the video here. But
Oh yeah, sorry. The
there,
name.
if you type it on YouTube, it's And Bros, ANDBROS, and you'll find them. And yeah, they've been putting out cool stuff. Their production value gets better every time. They have enlisted me to try and write some comedy skits for them to do. So I'm excited to try that out and see if I can. I used to be the actor in all of our films we used to make, but I think it's
Yeah,
kind of
you
it's kind of
did.
more
You
fun to at this point like direct and write, which is what I have done more. Well, I mean, I've been acting in them as well, but I do more work I think as like the editor, director, and writer of these other
I
two
feel
these
like
past
I
things we've made with the whole family.
yeah, I feel like you've kind of taken Brevon's role because obviously he's gone off and like
Hmm.
being married and bless them both. Uh, Obviously you've kind of sort of stepped into that because yes, back in the day, man, you were like you were the star actor, bro. Like you were famous, man. I wanted to be like you. So whenever I got like a little part on the side, it was like, yo, the boys. Oh yeah. No, but I mean seriously, go check it out. And Bros. And yeah, man, it is class. I think firstly just the chemistry between those two is just brilliant. But yeah, they're releasing some quality material, man. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We really do appreciate it, and we will try and be back slightly sooner than the pause between these last two. We do apologize for that, but as I'm sure you can relate to, life has been a bit hectic at the moment, so please bear with
Indeed.
us. But yeah, we'll be back very, very soon, and thank you so much for listening.